Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. Excuse any noise that might have just caused. So, we are very quickly coming up on No Man's Sky's ninth anniversary. Yeah, 9 years already, guys. There's been a stupendous amount of updates and content that have come throughout the years. Some things we wanted, some things we didn't want, but anniversary updates are supposed to be special. I wasn't too keen on last year's anniversary update. Didn't do much for me. Wasn't super stupendous, at least in my eyes. Can't speak for everybody. But here's the thing. 9 years, things are going to start winding down. We need to be realistic. And there's so many things here that we could get that, could be a massive update, or it could be just a small contained update. The last two updates have been rather lean on new systems, just recycling of content, additions of, base parts, ships, the usual thing. With the exception of one really cool system, which it seems very few people engage in, and that's the ship building. And there's a reason for that. Mostly that, well, you can't take your existing ships and repaint them. So it kind of soured a lot of people on that content and made the engagement really uninteresting. Also, the way you had to engage in the system was, I could go on and on. But this is important because this is my wish list for the 2025 ninth year anniversary update. First one, space stations. I go on and on about this every year. It's obvious something is coming. They're doing work. The update to space stations was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. If you don't think the work that they put into rearranging and renovating the space stations was worth it, you're out of your mind. But here's my thing. We need to have space station ownership. It can be complicated, it can be simple. It can be treated literally just like settlements. Give us compartments to build in the space station so that we don't have to live on a freighter, so that we can travel between a planet and a space station and have a refining room and a cantina. That would be really cool. All the accoutrements that exist on a settlement for the most part, we could have on a space station. And this is going to tie into one of my other ideas that I've been kicking around for a long time that I don't think would be super hard to do. One of the modules needs to be freighter customization. And I'm going to go a little different on this because when I say freighter customization, you're thinking, oh, the big hulking capital ships. Well, no, freighter customization. And here's my thing. These are the newer models. They're small. They're easier to work with. They won't take much time, at least I believe, to refactor to make it so we can build on them, that we can customize them, and we can change out parts on them. So give us the ability to, one, pilot frigates, two, customize them with paints and upgrades, and this is the cool one. One of my other favorite MMOs is Star Trek Online, and they have a crew system where you recruit crew to fit different roles. Well, let's do that with No Man's Sky. We kind of have that with the way we have the weapon specialization NPC, the base building NPC, that have them on frigates, make them serve roles as for targeting, scanning, science to maybe refine things. Give them something unique and make them recruitable so you, as you travel, you get, see-through S-tier crew members and exotic crew members or travelers that allow us to do special things like exceptionally long jumps or the creation of wormholes. How cool would that be? And I don't think it would take a lot of work. Number two, procedural dungeons. Having them just exist as procedural freighters that you have to have. I understand the money sink for them. It makes sense to have something to spend units on. Completely understand that. But they've taken some things out of these and added things to them that kind of make them uninteresting to the community. They are one of the few sinks that you can get frigate modules from. so you can upgrade your freighter with. But they took the Quicksilver reward out of them. So let's do something a little different here. So much of No Man's Sky's content has taken us off planets and put us into space. Let's give everybody a reason to go back down onto planets. Procedural dungeons need to be on planets and make them rewarding. Either through one of two things. And this is going to tie into one of my other complaints. One, you need to introduce some sort of random Quicksilver reward into these dungeons and have them on planets. Either make custom layouts, unique buildings, rare faction hideouts and stuff, pirate bases. Do something with them, make them unique, and put them on planets. Even if they're just inside crashed freighters. If that's how bare bones you need to go with this, I'm fine with that. But let's put them on planets. And let's introduce unique loot pools. Quicksilver needs to be in there. If you're not going to put ship parts into loot tables for destroyed ships in space, which I still don't understand why they're not there, put them in random loot for these dungeons. So as I'm going through, instead of me having to go buy a ship at a space station, scrap the ship for a single part, have to do this for multiple ships to get 2 wings, an engine, and a fuselage, have this as random loot inside dungeons, and here's the really cool thing, unique drops that only come from the dungeons. I've said this time and again, there is very little reason to do a loot hunt in this game. That includes technology. By consolidating so much of the technology chase and the recipe chase to the Nexus, you kind of break the allure of exploring. Exploring is only so interesting in this game when it comes to how planets look. There needs to be some other chase in this game. And this goes towards the longevity of the game, because let's be honest, they're not going to have full support for this game forever, but you dedicate a small art team, and every couple months you drop a secret little ship upgrade into a dungeon, or a raid, or a combat battle. Something small that nobody knows about that they find through the magic of exploration and crafting and just playing the damn game. Third one, interconnectivity in terms of planetary archives, settlements, and space stations. I have gone over this a million times. I've brought this up every time I have a wish list. And maybe I've always overcomplicated it. It does not have to be as bizarrely complicated as Star Citizen wants theirs to be, and they still have yet to execute on. This could be very simple. I don't need physicalized cargo. I don't need, a vast, complicated economic system with NPCs and everything. Just I'd like to see the ability to either attach or grow settlements off of planetary archives. So you constantly have traffic going in and out. You have a system of trade that goes from your settlement to your planetary archive, and from your planetary archive up to your space station. This could tie into having a market kiosk where unique things that you only craft at your settlement are sold at only your space station. Again, so when people play, most notably in multiplayer, encouraging people to play in multiplayer, you then find unique loot at these space stations for either a unique currency that only you get, or one of the many currencies that currently exist in the game. They're there. It's again, I want to make this simple, but make it feel like a big change. So then we go on to one of my other complaints. We now have physicalized wind and physicalized water in No Man's Sky. Well, I don't know about you, but one of the weird things that I like playing is like off-grid base building. It's something that I've done in other video games, other survival games, and I really like doing it. It gives you a sense of independence, and it kind of, since we're in this, hubbub about global warming and living green lives, well, why don't we have wind power, and why don't we have tidal power in No Man's Sky for our bases? This would encourage them to make new base building parts for underwater, which we sorely need, That's one of the things that hasn't been touched in God knows how long. And who wouldn't love to have windmills at your goddamn base? And tie that to maybe a grinder for, for food recipes. Again, something that's simple, low tasks for the development team, and would add an enormous amount of replayability for the game. Then we're going to go on to one of my final ones. And this is kind of a longevity thing when, the multiplayer component of this game is not going to last forever. Playing with other people may not last forever. So, can we please get a credible NPC threat? Be it one of the coolest systems I loved from from MMOs were rifts from the MMO Rift. Random events, world events, where people had to team up to fight off an invading force. How hard is this to do? We already have freighter battles in systems. They're random. You come across them in your travels. This is something that could ping on a galactic map. Everybody can see it. And if you're in multiplayer and you want to come join and help us fight off an invading threat, how cool would that be? And again, you can tie unique loot tables to this. Most notably, my biggest complaint, ship parts. If you want us to engage in the shipbuilding system that obviously you put a lot of work into, please, for the love of God, make it just a little easier to get ship parts. And while a lot of people will argue this completely obliterates the need to chase for ships, and I'm sorry it doesn't. If I have a ship that I love, absolutely love, most notably my tiny little grasshopper sentinel ship that I love to death, but I'd love to paint it all black, or all white, or black and green, or black and yellow, or a myriad of other color paint schemes that I can't because it's set in stone. For the love of God, the paint system is in, it works, and we know for a fact that you can set to paint ships. You can do it to Exocraft, you can do it to freighters. Why can't we do it to the ships that we already own? For the love of God, please, for the love of God. And then we're going to go on to one other request. Since we now have 4 distinct races in the game, the Gek, the Korvac, the Viking, and the Autophage, the Autophage have gotten some love. They now have settlements. But, and I don't know, this might be something that's coming. Can we please get an Autophage freighter? Maybe give us a couple variants and give us some frigates to go with them. And offer them something unique. Maybe they go into the void of glass. Maybe they make it easier to find purple systems. Maybe you can only get to purple systems with an autophage freighter. Granted, I don't like gatekeeping stuff to endgame, but just make them unique. Give them something unique. Give them a customization. Make it so maybe you can only paint ships on autophage freighters. I don't know. But we need autophage freighters. We haven't had a new freighter except for the pirate freighter, which for some of us, since it's themed and not very unique, it doesn't offer anything new. It's not particularly different. I'd love to see a new designed freighter that has something different, just gives us something different. And then my final thing, some form of love for farming. Whether this is tied to include creatures, egg incubation, egg hatching, creature farms, creature trading, creature training, creature battles, just something. Pokemon it if you want to. I'd love to have arena battles with my player creatures for some reason, and make pretty much everything in the game tameable. Large water creatures, flyers, worms. Let's go balls to the walls. Let's make this. If you want it, you can get it. Period. That's the appeal of this game from day one. The exploration, to go wherever you want, do whatever you want. That's the core of this game, and that's what's going to keep this game alive long after support dies. And the final thing. I am tired of game versions breaking mods to the point where if the mod creator does not come back to update their mods, they don't work anymore. Please, dedicated mod tools, or let's finalize some form of version that doesn't chronically break mods. I don't know how hard it would be to do. Again, I don't know everything under the hood of No Man's Sky. But I thought the changes that they made to modding were so that mods, one, had a load order that worked, and two, didn't chronically break. Now, granted, some mods affect systems and things that they change pretty much every update. It's inevitable. But there are mods that just function on core functionality that break every update. And a real request for this anniversary update if it's coming. Please QA test this update. The last update was broken. It broke so much and obviously took much longer than usual to fix, up to the point where we had patches coming out last month for a 2-month-old update. It fundamentally broke so much, and I don't understand why. But, I mean, we're on the cusp of Light No Fire, and unfortunately, this update might come out going on during Battlefield's beta. Ugh. But, hey, that's not going to stop me from playing it. That's not going to stop me from promoting it. And I want you guys to add your 2 cents in. What simple or complicated things would you like to see in the 9-year update? And what's future cast? How about the 10-year update? What are we going to look for at the 10-year update? Once again, I'm Caprica Gaming. Thank you for watching my channel. God knows I've been really, really lax in updating you and giving you guys content, but I work a full-time job and I have a life outside of YouTube. Thanks, guys.